You need to watch this and learn some of the sneaky tricks that cruise lines are using to pull more money out of your pocket. Watch to the end and find out how much you can save by adjusting your habits before and during the cruise. There are a lot of different ways that cruise lines take a little bit more out of your pocket as you're booking your cruise and while you're on board. So what we're going to do today is kind of show you the 14 different ways that we've found that cruise lines are doing this, so you can watch out for them when you're booking your cruise and when you're on board. Some of these are very subjective, of course. If you like certain things, you're going to spend the money on them. So it's just something that you can use as a guideline to save when you can. We'll start off while you're doing your research. Looking at the cruise line websites, you're going to see a lot of specials, buy one, get one free offers, free airfare for the second passenger, package inclusions, all kinds of things. These can be very confusing and may not be the best value for your particular circumstance. You really have to do your homework here and make sure that what you're buying into there is actually saving you money. Use your travel agent. They know this stuff. They do their homework and they can find out if it's really a good deal for you. Keep in mind that travel agents and cruise lines don't compete with one another. You're going to get the same price from the cruise line as you're going to get from the travel agent. And often the travel agent, because they have group bookings on board, they can actually get it for lower than what the cruise line will advertise for. So it's at your advantage to use a travel agent in most circumstances. The other area is the non-refundable deposits. And this is something that the cruise lines have started to do probably since the end of the pandemic or during the pandemic. They've started to make incentives for you to choose the non-refundable deposits. So it might be a special, it might be a certain price point package that the deposit is not refundable. What they're banking on is that a number of people will cancel that cruise and won't get their money back, or they'll be forced to use it as a future cruise credit. Traditionally, before the pandemic, most cruise fares were fully refundable up until the time of the final payment. So this is something new that we have to get used to, and we really have to watch the fine print. I know a lot of people that book kind of a speculative cruise 2 or 3 years out, not really sure if they want to take it. They need to be absolutely sure that they're booking a fully refundable cruise. The third item on the list is the airfare included or free air for the second passenger. I don't like these deals because I really want to have control over my airfare. You know that you're not getting that great of a deal. It's probably being baked into the cruise price. You also lose all control over the flight times, what flights you're going to take, what carrier you might take, what time your flight's going to arrive. I've even heard of instances where passengers weren't booked on the same flight. Now, this is not saying that all cruise line air is bad, because if you're booking just regular flights through the cruise line to, do transfers and things like that, you can select your carrier, you can select your flight time. It's just with these free offers, they don't allow you to do that the same way. Number 4 on my list is one that really actually burns me, because it's the hidden gratuities that they put onto the free drink packages on some cruise lines. So this is where they're saying, okay, you book the cruise with us, you're going to get free drinks. When you select that option, you're going to be automatically billed up front $404 on a 7-night cruise for 2. This is the gratuities based on you drinking 15 drinks a day at an 18% gratuity, averaging about a $10 per drink cost. You really have to evaluate if this is worth it for you. There may be a better package that you can pay for that includes internet and gratuity, your regular gratuities, and the drinks as well. For example, Princess Plus for a 7-day cruise, $60 a day is $420 per person, but that includes your internet and your gratuities and your drink package, and that includes the bar gratuities as well. So really do your homework before you jump on those free deals. That pretty much leads directly into number 5, which is to look at the combo packages like Princess Plus, and Holland America and Celebrity also have these as well, where they include the drinks packages, the gratuities, and bonus items, say specialty restaurants, the casual dining restaurants, and other things like premium desserts and things like that. You have to see if these are a better value for you than doing it individually or paying out of pocket while you're on the cruise. For me personally, the things like Princess Plus really do work out really well for me and my family. But make sure you do your homework, do the math on it, and make sure that it's going to work for you. This is the final item that's kind of pre-cruise, and it's guaranteed cabins versus pick your own, and the difference in price. Guarantee cabins have been a thing for years where you don't necessarily know what cabin you'll be in until a couple of weeks before the cruise. But this is the first time that they've really started pushing this up front and giving you that option while you're booking. What that does for them is it gives them the opportunity to take bids on upgrades. It gives them opportunity to move people around, and it gives them a lot more flexibility in terms of where passengers are allocated. For you, it doesn't make sense necessarily to save $100 or $150 when you don't get a desirable location. You get somewhere that isn't ideal for you, or it's next to the stairs, or it's across from the laundry. There's so many different varieties of and reasons why you wouldn't want to pick a guarantee cabin. Now, let's move on board the ship. The first item is the shore excursions and shore excursion credits. You really have to do your research here, whether or not it makes sense to take a ship shore excursion, whether you should do it yourself, or book with a reputable shore excursion operator. Cruise line shore excursions are notoriously expensive, and if you're in the port long enough, it may make more sense for you to do it yourself. The key here is research. Look and see what's nearby the port. What are the attractions you really have to see while you're in that port? And see if there is a local operator or a consolidator of excursions that can get you onto those destinations. One thing you want to watch out for, of course, is the return to ship. If you are on a shore excursion with the ship, you're guaranteed that the ship is not going to leave without you if you are with one of their shore excursions and you've stuck with the group. If you're on with one of the other operators or a local operator, you don't get that guarantee. And if you miss the ship, you're going to be responsible for getting back to over to the next port or back to your original port. It's really what your risk is and what you're willing to tolerate. Larger groups, I would definitely recommend trying to go with a shore excursion operator and a consolidator of shore excursions rather than through the ship. Tied into this, of course, is the offer of free shore excursion credits where they may give you $50 towards a shore excursion, full knowing that you're going to book that excursion and probably more. So say $50 on a $125 shore excursion, at least gets you looking at their shore excursions rather than going elsewhere. There's definitely an opportunity to save money on the shore excursion side of things. Number 8 on the list is the spa services and salon services. Much more expensive than on land. You're going to have the upsell at the end, guaranteed. They're going to want to sell you products. The prices for men's haircuts, as I can speak from experience, outrageous, like $70 plus a gratuity. I can't comment on the women's cuts. I'm not really qualified to say what's a good value and what isn't. But you are going to pay. And I realize that for many people, that's one of the luxury items that you do get on a ship. Just know that it's not a great value compared to landside. Thanks for watching this far. I know a couple of the next ones will likely to be controversial. I'd ask you to like and subscribe to the channel so you know when we post more. Number 9 on my list is bingo. It's a massive moneymaker for the casino and the cruise line. Honestly, if you do the math on how many people are playing, what those jackpots are, and your odds of winning, it's absolutely ridiculous the amount that they are charging. Some cruise lines more than others. Sailing with Cunard, it's more of a fun thing. $20 gets you into the game, and that's fine. When I see people spending $69 on these machines on some of the other ships, it's unbelievable. You'd be better off taking your $40 or whatever you're going to spend, taking it over to the roulette table, slap it on one of the colors, and just see if you can double your money that way. Bingo is a very traditional ship game, and I realize that many people, really enjoy playing it on board. But if you're looking to save money, bingo is definitely one of the areas where you don't need to spend it. Number 9 on our list isn't something that's as obvious. Drinks of the day, the specialty cups that they serve, they gather dust. You're never going to use them again. You have to haul them home. They take up room in your luggage. If they're glasses as opposed to plastic, you risk them breaking in your luggage. I would just stay away from those offers. It's $10, $20, $30 or whatever you're going to spend that you just don't need. Number 11 is the special wine tastings and dinner events. And I disagree with myself here because I love these. So these are like the wine connoisseurs, it's the wine tastings, it's the chef's tables and things like that. If you don't want to spend money on board, these are the ones to avoid, especially if you have a drinks package somewhere else. But if you really enjoy these, you're going to attend. And I am a big fan of the wine tastings, and I'm a big fan of the chef's tables on board the ships. Number 12 on the list is a little less obvious, and it's what I would call the dumbing down of the main dining room to make the specialty restaurants more appealing. What we've seen over the course of the last maybe 10 years or so is that the menus on board the main dining rooms have become smaller, less interesting, and the food not as good as it was 10 years ago. During the same period of time, we've also seen the rise of these specialty restaurants on board. And I think that there may be a correlation between the rise of those specialty restaurants and what's happened in the main dining rooms to push you towards using the specialty restaurants, to paying the upgrades and the cover charges to use those specialty restaurants rather than eating in the main dining room. So again, this is a place where the cruise lines are trying to get some more money out of your pocket. And if you don't really care that much, don't bother with the specialty restaurants. Just keep that money in your pocket. Number 13 on the list is the professional portraits and the photos taken around the ship. These are one of the areas that it seems to be going the way of the dodo. Honestly, I see less and less photographers on board the last few cruises that I've been on anyway. I don't think people are as into this as they once were. There used to be a time when everyone went and got their formal portraits taken on formal night. Everybody purchased them. I just don't see it as a great value. So now you're being charged $50 for some digital photos, maybe as low as $25 to purchase one printed photo. It depends on, for you, again, if this is value for money. Our own personal experience from over 50 cruises is that the photos end up in a folder on a shelf, never to be looked at again. We have a couple that might have made the wall, but not very many. It just doesn't seem to be worth spending the money. Number 14 is more of a budget item, and it depends on the cruise line because it's all the extra attractions and activities on board the mainstream cruise lines, such as race cars, zip lines, skydiving simulators, arcades, virtual reality. Really, this is something that, especially if you're traveling with children, you really have to take into account before you go on that cruise, because they can go through the money in a heartbeat if they get into these activities. So do your research ahead of time, find out what they cost, be able to set some limits, and you can always make sure that their cruise cards, especially kids, are limited in terms of what they can and can't spend, or do they need parental permission to use these attractions. Again, this tip video isn't about telling you how to spend your money or how not to waste your money, because that's very subjective. It just explains to you how the cruise lines plan to squeeze a little bit more out of you as you plan and get on your cruise. And the more you know ahead of time, the better. So again, research is the key to planning your cruise. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have any money-saving tips, be sure to save them in the comments. I try to put out a new video every couple of times a week, so like this video and subscribe for more.